Governing a population of roughly 60 million people across thousands of miles of rugged terrain is a colossal administrative challenge. Ancient Imperial China achieved this without electricity, motorized transport, or modern communications. They held this immense structure together through a specific ideology, the mandate of heaven. In this system, the emperor was a cosmic mediator. His primary duty was to maintain perfect alignment between the earth and the heavens through strict rituals and moral leadership. But this ideological software contained a fatal vulnerability. Unpredicted celestial events, like a sudden solar eclipse or devastating natural disasters, were interpreted as political report cards. They were signs that the emperor was failing in his cosmic duties. This created a very real legal threat to the ruling dynasty. If the heavens indicated the mandate was broken, the peasant population had a recognized, legitimate right to rebel and overthrow the government. To prevent the sky from triggering a revolution, the state had to engineer a system to completely control how reality and time were interpreted. This bronze armillary sphere is a piece of the state's first countermeasure. The imperial court established a highly secretive astronomy bureau to track celestial movements and produce the authoritative imperial calendar. The calendar was a rigid political tool. The state used it to dictate the exact days for planting, harvesting, and state rituals, strictly synchronizing the biological and agricultural rhythms of the entire population with the central government's schedule. Protecting this synchronized schedule was a matter of national security. The state made private, unauthorized astronomy a capital offense, punishable by death. The paranoia was practical. If a private citizen or a rival merchant could mathematically predict a solar eclipse on their own, they could use that cosmic event to legitimize an uprising. By hiding the mathematics of the stars and outline independent observation, the state transformed time itself into a heavily guarded instrument of political security. A centralized schedule requires a way to distribute it. In early antiquity, records were kept on tied bamboo slips. A single tax report could weigh dozens of pounds, making it logistically impossible to mass administer a massive territory. Around the year 105 CE, an imperial court official standardized a physical upgrade, paper. It was uniform, extremely cheap to produce, and incredibly lightweight. Looking at this surviving fragment of an ancient paper manuscript, you can see the strict vertical columns of characters. This material allowed the state to build history's first massive data network, structuring every local birth, tax payment, and grain yield into a clean, searchable format. Millions of these standardized sheets were constantly routed from distant farming villages back to the central hub in the capital, carried by single riders rather than convoys of heavy carts. Paper served as the essential data transmission hardware required to run a centralized empire. Maintaining this constant flow of data required a continuous supply of compliant human operators. To solve this, the Tang dynasty expanded the civil service examinations. The state offered high-level political power and wealth to anyone, regardless of their family background, on the strict condition that they could pass a rigorous, highly controlled written test. The cost of entry was total intellectual conformity. Candidates spent decades of their lives memorizing thousands of pages of rigid official Confucian ideology, leaving little room for independent or rebellious thought. By offering status as the reward for conformity, the state bypassed the need for a massive, violent occupying army. The empire's brightest and most ambitious minds willingly policed their own thoughts, dedicating their entire lives to serving the government. The examination system turned human ambition and literacy into a self-replicating mechanism for ideological standardization. This sweeping, rigidly symmetric layout of the Forbidden City illustrates the final result. By merging an astronomical calendar, a paper data network, and standardized exams, Chinese dynasties built an inescapable administrative machine that survived for millennia. The specific tools of bamboo, bronze, and parchment have vanished, but the structural logic of this operating system is highly active in the modern era. The ancient secret calendars and paper exams are the direct ancestors of our cloud databases, algorithmic feeds, and standardized digital credentials. The technology has evolved from ink and bronze to digital code, but the ultimate goal remains exactly the same: to make human behavior perfectly predictable and aligned with the central state.